What's going on, guys? My name is Derek. Welcome back to the channel. I am standing next to my MV Agusta F3 800 dedicated track bike, better known as our F3XX replica. And in this video, we are going to be doing some work on my I2M Chrome Pro 2 display. Welcome back, guys. So this video isn't specific about the MV. We're going to be working on our Chrome Pro 2 display, and the display is fairly universal. In fact, I had it on my BMW S1000RR over there initially before moving it to this bike because this is now my primary track bike. But you can put this display really on any bike. It doesn't matter what it is, so it doesn't need to be an MV, but it happens to be on my MV, so hence, this is a pseudo MV video. With that done, let's talk about what we're doing on our I2M Chrome. So we are going to be adding a track, and there's a couple of ways that you can add tracks to your Chrome unit. And I did a video, I don't know, a little over a year ago, maybe two, I can't remember exactly here, but click that link here, check it out. That video is still valid and relevant. This video is a continuation of that, and we're talking about a very specific scenario, and that is you're at the track you're at is not loaded in your I2M Chrome unit, and what do? How do you get it there? So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to put this camera on the tripod. I have another camera set up pointed directly at my Chrome unit. We're going to do a little bit of a split screen, and I'm going to walk you through that process. So let's get to it. All right, guys, so we are over here at the bike. I got the camera on the tripod. I have my Ace Pro pointed directly at my Chrome unit. And before we get started, I'm going to be using the buttons over here on the right side of the Chrome to do the navigation. There are some bikes like the Yamaha R1, latest gen BMW S1000, and maybe a few others, where the left switch gear is integrated and you can use the up and down buttons to navigate the pages on your Chrome. My MV is not set up that way, so I'm going to be using the right buttons on the side. But please note, you can use your left switch gear if it's integrated. I also have a trickle charger connected to this bike. I have a really small lithium-ion battery, and turning the display on without the bike starting can drain that super quick. So if you're doing something similar, please connect it to a trickle charger. So the scenario is this: you're at the track, and the track that you're at is not loaded in your Chrome display. You don't have a USB flash drive with the laptop. You've just shown up at the track, and for whatever reason, the track you're at is not on the Chrome. What is it you do? This scenario came about. I was at Podium Club at my last track day, and a friend of mine who has a Chrome did not have Podium Club on his Chrome display. He's like, Derek, I don't know. Can you help me out? I need to delete a track so that I can add Podium Club, because right now I'm not getting any of the awesome lap data that you use the Chrome for. There's no last lap, current lap, fast lap, none of that great data. And that led me to thinking about this video. So luckily for him, I did in fact have my laptop and I had my flash drive. So I just went over to my computer, downloaded everything to this flash drive, walked this over to his bike, plugged it in, and said import tracks from USB. And I was able to help him out. But what is it you do if you don't have this? So there are a couple of things you need to know. Number one, your Chrome always needs exactly 20 tracks at all times, bar none. In the Danish software, the upload button is always low lighted until you actually select 20 tracks, and then it becomes active. And at that point, it won't let you add a 21st track. So if you get to 18 or 19, that button is still low lighted and you won't be able to export that list to your flash drive. Once you get to 20, it stops letting you add tracks. So you can only add 20 tracks, and you need exactly 20. Case in point, if you're trying to do this process at the track, there's no delete option, and I'll show you that in a minute. You cannot delete a track because that would leave you with something less than 20 tracks, right? It would leave you with 19, and you can't do that. Even if you think it's just temporary, that's the way it is. I don't know why I2M programmed it this way. Send them an email. Maybe they're watching, they'll comment. I don't know, but that's what it is. You need 20 tracks, bar none. You can't have any more, you can't have any less. 20 is the number. All right, so what we need to do is we have a couple of different options. Our options are to update an existing track that we're not using. And there are a couple of nuances or a couple of different ways in which to do that. We'll talk about both of them. So we're at the bike. I'm going to turn the bike on. The Chrome will come on. It will do its display of lights here. Let it finish. And the first page that it loads for you may be different. I've selected this one. I think there are 3 or 4 different displays, but it really doesn't make any difference. The page will come up, and what you want to do is quick press the down button. The up and down button is how we navigate pages, and you'll either long press one or the other, and you'll quick press to navigate. So what we're going to do is quick press the down button. That will bring us to the menu page. We want to select the very first option, chronometer. And we'll long press the down button to do that, to go into that page. Now we're into the chronometer page. I don't know why I have a problem saying chronometer, but you can see we have view lap times, delete lap times, select laps. You notice there's no delete circuits here, but regardless, we want to go down to the third option, select circuits. So we'll just quickly press the down button till we get to it. Then we'll long press the down button to go into that page. And now here you can see a list of all the circuits that I have loaded. And you'll notice that there's amp counterclockwise, amp clockwise. We'll talk about why both of those are there like that. Barber, Chuckwalla, both directions, so forth and so on. What you want to do is select a track that you've added simply for fill. I live in Arizona. I'm going to select Barber Motorsports Park. Barber is in Alabama, several thousands of miles away, several thousands of kilometers away. I'm not going to be there anytime soon. You can look to see there's no best lap, so I even haven't used this track, so I've just added it for fill. So I'm going to arrow down. I'm going to select Barber, and then I'm going to long press the down button. When you do that, you're going to get a pop-up message on your screen. So there you go. It says circuit Barber loaded. So for you, it would say circuit whatever loaded. Okay. If you don't see that message, your circuit isn't loaded and you cannot continue on with this process. So now that we're done, we're going to long press the up button to go back one page to the chronometer page. And then we're going to go down to circuit details. So again, down button, and then we're going to long press the down button again to go into that page. So here you can manipulate a bunch of things. I won't go through everything on this page. I want to keep this video concise. So this very first step is not required, but I highly suggest you do that, and that is to rename the track. Now, if you're fill tracks, if you're at, I don't know, New Jersey Motorsports Park and you've decided to select Mugello, for example, then you probably know that you've never been to Italy, you've never been to that track, so you probably know that it's New Jersey Motorsports Park. So you don't need to, but I'm going to go through the process anyway. So we arrow down using the buttons again to update names. Then we long press the down button. Barber will change to yellow, and the very first character in the name will have an underline. That underline indicates the character that we can manipulate with the buttons. So you can use the up and down buttons to go through the alphabet, uppercase and lowercase, as well as numbers if you wanted to. So to lock in that particular character, you long press the down button again. The underline will move to the next character. You continue that process until you've updated your name. Once you have the name the way you want it, to lock in the name, you long press the up button. So long press the up button. You can see that Barber changes from yellow to white, indicating that it's locked in. That is permanent. You're done. You don't have to worry about anything beyond that. The next thing we want to do, and this is required, we want to go down to update finish line position. So we'll go down to that. We'll long press the down button again. Available will change from white to yellow, indicating that it's ready to be updated. Now, you want to do this right before your next session, right before you're about to go out onto track. Maybe a minute, maybe even a little bit late, because again, once you finish this, you want to go right out onto the track. You cannot turn your display off. If you turn your display off, it will undo this, and you'll need to go through this process again, which means you'll need to select the track, go into track details, go down to update finish line, and make a selection. And if you're sitting at track on, like we do here at my track days anyway, everyone tends to gather around track on maybe 1 to 2 minutes before their session starts, and then the track marshal will start letting people on. However, sometimes they'll go, all right, shut the bikes off, someone's done a victory lap, someone's dropped their bike, there's some type of delay and you're not going out right now. As soon as you turn your bike off, that erases everything we're doing here with the exception of the name that's locked in. And you'll have to do that again once you start the bike again. And he says, okay, fire them up, we're about to go out. At this point, you have your helmet on, you got your gloves on, there are people around you, and everyone's trying to get out onto the track. That probably means you're going to start that next session without doing this, or you're going to have to pull off to the side so that you can do this again. So again, do this right before you're about to go onto the track, maybe even a minute or two late so you're not waiting in that crowd and you can roll right out onto the track. Anyway, our options in here, there are 3 options. There is map, there is update, and there is auto. We are going to be talking about update and auto in this video. So let's talk about update first. So again, we'll use our up or down buttons to navigate through the options. When we see update, we'll stop here. And to lock in update, we want to long press the up button. And when we do that, we're going to get a message on the screen. So we'll long press up, and then you see we have our message on the screen there. It says finish line. Press the down button to set the current coordinates. Press the up button to cancel. This means that while we're out riding on the track, at some point, not necessarily where the exact start-finish line is for your particular circuit, but some safe place, some slow place, some place where there's not a lot of riders around you, the Chrome wants you to take your hands off the throttle, then reach up here and press the down button to say that is the start-finish line. And because your bike has a GPS unit, it's connected to the satellites, it has an accelerometer, it knows which direction you're crossing the start-finish line. So at that point when it does that, or if you have a left switch gear, you can press the down button on your left switch gear. It locks in that position, and now it will start recording lap data from there on. I don't like using this option because taking your hand off the throttle at any point on the track is dangerous, particularly if you're in a group and a bunch around, well, I take that back. In any group, whether it be a group or your novice group, taking your hand off the throttle to reach up here and press a button is dangerous because there could be someone behind you and you're not going to know who's directly behind you. And you take your hand off your throttle, your bike starts to slow down, and that person doesn't know you're not in a braking zone and they're on full throttle, full chat. They could run right into the back of you, and that is a really, really, really bad scenario. So I don't recommend the update option, but it is an option. All right, so I'm going to press the up button to cancel. I'm going to long press the down button again, and we are going to select the auto option, which is a better method for this particular process. So again, we're going to long press the up button to lock in auto. It changes from yellow to white. There's no display on the screen. What we need to do now is, and the same thing holds true, we cannot turn off our Chrome display because it'll undo everything. Do this right before you're about to go out onto the track, or even a few minutes late so that the crowd was already on the track. Sacrifice a few laps to get this done, because once it's done, you don't have to do it for the rest of the day. It's locked in. And once you get back home, you can grab your flash drive, download the data from your display to the flash drive, put that on your laptop, and then you can manipulate everything you want in Danish. You can rename the track to something more detailed. You can change the start-finish line from wherever it is to the actual start-finish line without impacting your lap times. You can add splits. You can do all the wonderful things that we love to do with our display unit. So don't worry about where your start line is finished. But with the auto option, now that this is set, you ride out onto the track, and then once you've exceed 150 kilometers per hour, which I think translates to roughly 92 to 93 miles per hour, the bike or the Chrome unit will automatically lock that as the start-finish line. Again, it has a GPS unit that's connected to the satellites, so it knows where you are, and because it has an accelerometer, it knows which direction you're crossing the start-finish line, so it knows if you're going clockwise or counterclockwise on the track, and it locks that in, and you're done for the day. Don't have to take your hand off the throttle, don't have to thumb over anything on the side of the display or your left switch gear. You're set, and it's a much, much safer option. Again, on this screen here, on the circuit details page, you'll notice that there's no delete track option. There is a remove map option, but that is not the same as delete the circuit. That is for something completely different. So don't think that you can come in here and say, oh, I can remove the map and that's going to delete your track. That is not what that is for. So there is no delete track option within your Chrome unit. We can only update or select. So that is really the process, guys. I'm going to go back a page or two here. So I'm going to long press the up button. I'm going to go up to select circuits and long press the down button again. Roughly, again, 2 to 3 seconds, not forever. And I want to talk about why I have tracks in here twice. So I have amp counterclockwise, amp clockwise. I have that for Chuck. There's a bunch in here that I have both directions. The reason I do that is when you show up to the track and you turn your bike on, your Chrome unit with its GPS will sync to the closest satellite, and based on your current coordinates, it will say you are at this particular track, all right? And it'll automatically, down here on the lower left where it says circuit, it'll automatically display the track it thinks you are at. Now, while it may get the track right, and I think this is a programming design flaw within the Chrome unit, but it doesn't know which direction you're traveling the track. So for example, Laguna Seca can only be run in one direction that I'm aware of. You don't ever run up the corkscrew at Laguna Seca. So you can add Laguna Seca in here and its coordinates and so forth, and you'll always be going I guess what's counterclockwise at Laguna Seca, right? Or whatever the normal direction is. You don't run it the opposite direction. However, AMP and other tracks like that, I run in both directions. So let's say I only have AMP clockwise in here. I haven't put the other track. When I come in here, fire up the bike at AMP, it's going to automatically select that track. And let's say we're running counterclockwise that day. If I go out onto the track with AMP clockwise selected and we're running counterclockwise, I'm not going to get any data. You're going to look down maybe after 1 or 2 laps and you'll notice that your lap times, lap counters, so forth, they're not ticking. Everything is 0. That's because you're crossing the start-finish line in the opposite direction that it's expecting, so therefore it doesn't know what to do. So I add both tracks. That way, if it selects the wrong track by default, I can manually select it. Now that has caught me out a few times. So I've been at AMP or NYST or Palmer, and I forgot to change it manually. And then I look down at the end of my session, and there's no data, there's no lap times whatsoever. And I'm like, damn it. I'll talk about how you can avoid that in a second, but yeah, so that's why I have both tracks. Now, let me go into select circuits again. Now, I've used this naming convention, which is some abbreviation of the track name plus CW or CCW. Your naming convention can be completely different. Use whatever it is you want best for you. However, if there are 2 tracks basically with the same coordinates, the only difference in those tracks is how you're crossing the start-finish line. Your Chrome unit can't differentiate, so it's going to select the very first one that it gets based on alpha order. So in my case, everything is same up to AMP, right? So CW would come before CW. So it's always going to select the counterclockwise direction. If I'm running that particular track in counterclockwise, no problem. It's selected my track and I don't have to worry about anything. But if it's going to select that track counterclockwise and we're running it clockwise, then I need to come in here and I need to select the clockwise direction in order for me to have my data. To avoid that, you can, because you know when your track days are coming up, or you should, right? So a few days or even a couple of weeks before, depending on when it is, you can come in here, and sometimes I won't even upload the other track. So if I know that I'm running AMP next week, for example, January coming up, I think we're running it in a clockwise direction. I will come in here and I will grab my list back on my Danis, and I'll take the counterclockwise direction off. I won't even upload it. I'll select some other random track to fill out my list of 20, and I'll only have AMP clockwise in here. That way, when I get to AMP and I turn the bike on, it's going to select AMP. There's only one option. It's the clockwise direction, and we're running clockwise. That's great. If by chance on the day of they say, oh, we're not running clockwise today, we've changed it, we're running counterclockwise, well, then you're screwed. But that doesn't happen, or hasn't ever happened to me, but you can do that. So if you know ahead of time the track you're going to be at and which direction you're going to be running, you can just remove the other options so that there's only one track for your Chrome to select. So that is it. So before we do our typical end of video wrap up, I want to tell you guys to tune in for my next video. We got a couple of new things that I want to share with you guys. I have a new bike I want to share with you guys, or new to me bike I want to share with you guys that we're going to be doing some minor modifications on, and we'll start that project fairly soon. Of course, it's European, but I want to share that with you guys. And I got a new helmet that I want to share with you guys. I think it's pretty cool, and it'll be a pseudo review kind of thing. There are some things that are not so great about it as well. I don't know which one I'll do first, so tune in to find out which. Having said that, I am Derek. This is Euro Superbike Life. You guys know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, or smash it if you hated the video. Until next time, take care, guys.